Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Thursday night segment of The Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been on our journey literally from day one. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you, Folgers. Our next sponsor is Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, a.k.a. Justin Snicker. He is responsible for the intro and the outro. It is his music you're hearing. It is his voice you're hearing. And if you want to check him out, of course, he can be found anywhere that good music can be found. Coming in a spooky month, so you want to check out this award-winning composer of Halloween horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music. And boy, has he got some cool stuff. You have really got to check him out. We are on our usual platforms tonight, guys, which is, let me go and have a look-see here. We've got, for YouTube, UFO Gods Extraterrestrials, The Outer Realm, UFO Paranormal, and then we're going to jump over to Facebook, which is UFO Paranormal. We've got News on the Flip Side. We've got United Public Radio, The Outer Realm, Canada's Most Haunted, Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover. So that's where you can find us. And I'm going to be a harpy. I want to know what my Folgers commercials are. So I'm going to give you guys a little example of what it is we're looking for. This one here is Wayne Murphy. Here we go, guys.
Good morning, everyone. Wayne Murphy and Sean Williamson from Team Templar North America. When it comes to change, we're all about change, especially when it comes to changing history. But there's just one thing that we won't change, and that's the good taste of Folgers coffee in the morning, or anytime as a matter of fact. A taste that you can count on, just like the history that we plan to change. Folgers is a history of its own that will never change. Have a good day, everybody from Team Templar North America. Folgers.
See how easy that was? He promoted himself. He's got that commercial voice too. I think Folgers
he's got a radio voice. That's why I close my eyes when he's speaking, because I do know him, so it's okay. And I'm just like,
but it's true. But look at how easy it is. He introduces himself, who he's representing, and of course, it promotes him. I've played these commercials so many times. We have others coming in. I can't wait for the others to come in. Hey, Zach, singing, of course. Well, hey, wait. I've got a singer. The
best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup.
Dolly Saffron, who was on with Preston Dennett. See, nice and easy. Yes. I love it. So, of course, tonight we're getting into some shenanigans because Nick Redfern felt to leave us to our own devices.
And I can't see any of the comments, so we're in a great
spot. So he gets a lot of storms out there, and apparently
in Texas,
internet's a problem. And we can't do landlines. We can't really make phone calls here unless we use our own phones and put it to the mic. And we really weren't sure what the sound would be like, but we thought, you know what, we can always give it a whirl. But at the end of the day, he's going to be rescheduled. He does have a new book coming out. But we booked so far in advance, it probably will not be till the beginning of the new year at this point. But you guys have got us. So we did hang on to the very end to see what we could do. But here we are. And we always have a lot of fun. And the amount of messages that we get pertaining to the Q&A tells me that we're on the right track. And people don't really like when we wait long periods of time. But it's at a point now where we have so many new faces coming on, so many guests that are new to the Outer Realm. It's just as important for us to bring them all together and bring them to you guys, basically. And all I can tell you guys is there's a lot of really good stuff coming up. That's all I can say without giving it all away.
She's been booking all day.
All day. I think if there's like 5 spots left for the whole year, I'd be surprised. So we've got Zachman chiming in, Adrian chiming in, Tamara, Renee.
Now
Hello,
I can see
Renee.
them.
Your
Hello.
commercial is going to play again later. We've been playing it a
Yay.
lot too. I know.
I love them. We should do one.
Hey, you know what?
We have to get
Folgers
together. When we get
listens.
together for lunch, we should do one.
We
Since we'll be
should.
in the same spot.
Folgers actually listens, and they're
Yes, they do.
really smitten with the fact that people are taking the time, because see, we kind of have to do it, but in the same respect, we love Folgers, and we can't mention them enough. I mean, we're Folgers, but they love it when our guests and our listeners get into it. Like when we did the episode with Carl and Hamilton, holy God, we were always like, okay, Folgers time. Everybody's got their cups up. And
Yeah, that was nice.
Right? This has been an ongoing thing for quite some time. And at this point, they're really digging it. So come on, send this stuff in. Seriously. For real.
Yeah.
Right there.
Really.
Oh, for real.
Maybe I'll sing the next one.
There
Yeah.
you go.
That would be.
Put on your musical voice.
Haven't
Hey,
used
Wayne's
that
gonna do
voice
one.
in a long time. Good Lord.
Wayne's going to do one. Bart has done one. I'm still trying to bring it in first because he did it while he's in the south of France. So you're going to see him in a cave, doing a little bit of a Folgers thing. And it's just so cool. And I think Carlin Hamilton, dang it, I got you those cups. And I want a freaking commercial. So,
I got a package today from London and thought for sure it was my
crisps.
Yeah, but it was my
Or your hat?
shoes. But or my hat. Any of the above, none such.
Just a chalice. I keep
and
hoping.
I know Hamilton listens. So, buddy,
I know.
I got your address too, but I want to see those
That's
chips.
right. I've sent you goodies.
Send the chips. I'll share them with Michelle. We live close to each other.
Oh, it's funny.
We really don't live that far. But yeah.
We've gotten some requests, especially after the last, after our last Q&A, when we were talking about empaths and things like that. I had someone message me who was she really loved that whole part of the show. She goes, I listened, I love the whole show, but you left me with a lot of questions after that. And a lot of times we actually had Dr. Rita Louise on the show, I think last year, talking about empaths and narcissists, how to exist with them. Yes. Can you exist with them? So we thought we would start there, and then we're going to slowly move on to other things that we've had as requests as well. So let's start off with that. Can you live as an empath? Can you live with a narcissist? I've been fortunate that I could switch my empathy off to the point almost where people are like, oh, you're just heartless. Yeah, heartless enough that I spent 2 decades helping people, but not heartless enough to, sometimes you have to do for yourself. And when if you are around people who are really toxic to you, sometimes you need to either shut off or find a way to deal with it. So Amelia, I always say she's like one of the best people to sit and listen to when it comes to being an empath, because it's true, because you don't shut off. You can't shut off. You're switched on all the freaking time.
I wish I could.
Yeah, see?
I tried. I wish I could.
I didn't learn how until much later in life. Believe me, this is not something that came easy. It was just when I realized that, wait, you can control this, along with other abilities and stuff. I just started doing it and practicing it. For those who ask me, how do you shut your abilities off? I shut my abilities off to have my family because I didn't like the mix of children and abilities, because
Yeah,
I had
definitely
things in
not.
my own childhood that, I was seeing, and I watched even my daughter struggle a little bit with being
Yeah.
clairaudient and hearing things. And I'd hear her late at night going, "Will you all just shut the hell up? I can't get any sleep." She's like 15. It's
Yeah.
like, okay. So, I realized early on that just because I shut off thinking nothing's going to come around, it's not so much an out of sight, out of mind thing. The abilities continued. My children were seeing things. They're still experiencing things. They've held on to their abilities for the most part, whether they're in denial about it or not, because my youngest sort of is. But when it comes to toxic people, that's where I could be in control with my abilities and not, feeling all of that. Yeah, I can't even put that up on the screen, Renee, but
No, because they don't pay us to talk about
no, but well, not just that. You just don't want to give you just don't want to think them too hard. But it is true. Being in public places sometimes make it hard because you're picking up on all of these emotions and all of these thoughts, so on and so forth. Energy is a really tough thing. So before we get to your comment, Tamara, Amelia, why don't you take it? Like, what is
Oh,
your thought on being empathic and narcissist, toxic people, things like that? Like, how's the best way to handle it? How do you
oh,
recognize that there's a problem?
oh, it's easy to recognize because everything's your fault. um,
There you go.
it's very simple. If you're constantly being blamed for things, you're
Right.
probably with a narcissist. If you're empathic, the chances of narcissists being in your life are
Mm.
about 99%.
Okay, why is
Empaths,
do you think?
they're magnets because we're saviors, we're healers, we're knights on white horses. That's what we are. We come in, we swoop, and we
Right.
want to heal and make everybody feel better and take that pain. And then we take it and we take it and we take it from everywhere to the
Mhm.
point where we're completely broken.
Right.
And the sad part is the same people that you help to heal will say that you're different.
Right.
Anyways,
Right.
anyways, not yeah, empaths are just natural born healers,
Mhm.
and that there's a reason why they can feel the pain so that they can help that person. They can feel what it is and know where to start and how to proceed with the conversation, how to be a little bit more, even though I know I'm not known for being gentle when it comes to pain, I am. And Michelle's laughing because it's true. I am one hell of a bulldog. And I think it's because the other part of me has to be so gentle.
That was going to say, do you think maybe it's just that armor that you put up to basically protect yourself?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
the funny thing is I've been able to turn my abilities off, my sight and sound, when I go into a place, a
Right.
public place,
Right.
but I still prefer not to be in crowds. I can't turn off my empathy the minute I'm asked for assistance or a question, even if they don't know what I do. I can't
Mhm.
help myself. It's like something is saying, "You gotta help." Knocking. Come on, come on,
Right.
come on.
Right.
And you can't help but when you're a strong empath, you can't help but take it on. I have stood across from people I don't know and started crying.
Mhm.
Like it's hard because people look at you like you're crazy. You have the worst of both
Mm.
worlds. You absorb all of it and then you're criticized for it. But
Right.
narcissists, they're drawn to us as much as we are drawn to them.
Mhm.
And it's really sad. And empaths are people pleasers
Right.
as well. That's something that you have to learn to slowly
Right.
stop, or it's going to break you down because you don't get anywhere that way. You're not
Mhm.
helping anyone as much as you think you are. You're not helping anyone.
Mhm.
See, now I'm all over the place. It means you
Well,
have a big heart bubble.
well,
So, Tamara,
we're
thanks.
gonna start up with that, and then we'll continue on with the conversation. So Tamara
Yeah.
says, "Can you read this now? Do you have it up or?"
Yeah, I lived with
Okay.
a real narcissist for 27 years. It's a long recovery once that's, yeah. I'm really sorry you went through that. I have been surrounded by them my whole life. I had a parent who was, not my
Right.
dad.
Right. Right. And Renee says, "I lived
But
with one for 12 years. Got really bad. Zachman,
Oh,
you have that
yeah.
one?
I've worked with toxic people in my line of work for many years. My abilities have allowed me to call out BS. Those same people end up always falling on their own faces. Yeah, but when you call out the BS, you're not really being empathic. You're
Mm.
being protective, which is great because that's an ability to read
Mm-hmm.
them. But empaths will never call out BS because they can feel the pain they're going to inflict on you by catching you.
Hey, Nicole.
See, so it's a catch
Yeah.
22. You're
Right.
not going to call someone out because if it embarrasses them, you're going to feel embarrassed. That's
That's
another
true.
thing when you're an empath. You're embarrassed for other people's stupidity
Mm-hmm.
and mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody falls, you'll be the person that runs over to pick them up off the floor.
As they're trying to step on your head or pull you down.
Or
See,
you know, Lucifer. You know,
sure.
yeah, you're the one that does that. You'll never call people out. You'll do
Mm.
it silently. What I've noticed from people who are empaths, and I've spoken with them and we've interviewed them, is
Mm-hmm.
they do what I do.
Mm-hmm.
Just walk away from the relationship. No confrontation. Confrontation to an empath means you care. When an
Pretty
empath
much.
has had enough, they just walk away from you.
Pretty
You won't have
much.
any contact with them.
You get
It's done.
toxic people can only make themselves feel better by making someone else feel worse. And it only makes them feel better for a short period of time. So when you are dealing with people like that, I always say acknowledgement is empowerment. That doesn't just fall into, malevolent
No,
entities and things like that. It really does fall into everything. If you give it
anything
to them,
negative.
Wayne's he always said something to me that it always sticks in my head. It takes two to be in the ring, to have a boxing match. If you don't step
Absolutely.
into the ring, there's no fight. You
Nope.
just walk away. I've looked at people, I've smiled, and I just walk away. And they'll
Yeah.
they'll talk, and I'm just like, and I walk away. I don't care. I don't want to engage. And I guess that's the best way to do it. Don't engage.
I've walked away from relationships that I've had, friendships, not relationships. I've been married since I was 24.
Right.
I've walked away from friendships that I've had for over 20 years.
So these are
And
friendships too. I'm glad you mentioned that.
yeah,
This isn't just relationships. This is friendships
no,
or
I'm most
family, right?
affected by friendships when it comes to narcissism, to be honest with you.
Right.
Of course, relationships, but I can't tell you about that. But,
Mhm.
but yeah, friendship. I walked away from one friendship that was over 20 years that I never thought I'd walk away from because she was like a mother to me. And there was just too much that I couldn't deal with that was coming back at me. And I knew it was coming from her because that's the only place it could have come from.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyways, she hurt me in a way that I just think I deserve so much better. And that's where that's where you become stronger when you're an empath. When you realize that you deserve more
Hey,
is
go
when
ahead.
you can walk away.
Right.
But yeah, friendships, they will constantly, empaths are givers and narcissists are takers.
Right.
And they're aware of it and they don't care. They just think it's hilarious. And
Right.
it's okay, she'll do it. That's what I heard a lot. It's okay, Amelia will do it. Oh, it's okay, Amelia's got it. Oh, it's okay, Amelia's going in. It's like, have you ever felt bad for being reliable? Because I have. I felt completely,
Virtual hug
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
from Nicole. Virtual hug from Nicole.
oh, thank you, Nicole. I gave you one back. But like, have you
Right.
ever felt stupid for being reliable? Supposed to be a very good trait. Well, it sucks if you're an empath
Mm-hmm.
because you'll be constantly used. And as long as you're giving, they'll keep
Used and
taking. That's what
abused,
narcissists
apparently.
do.
Yeah.
Abused narcissists have a very easy go with empaths when it comes
Right.
to destroying them
Right.
verbally.
Yes.
It's very easy for them because as much, I can be confrontational, but I'm the person that has to be backed into a damn corner
Right.
before I do that. And when I come out, there's no turning back. I'm done.
Mhm.
I don't know how other empaths feel. I only know the ones that I do know, and they're the same way as I am.
See, I think animals, I wish we all can sense like animals, but animals really pick up on traits. You just see animals just go near somebody, and
Yeah.
they just avoid them. They don't like them. They
Yeah.
follow your
Especially
pet's lead.
cats.
I
Cats are
always
big
say
sensitives.
follow your pet's lead,
Yeah.
because they know if you've got toxic people around. They don't want to be around them either, for
No.
that matter.
And narcissists are really great at deflecting. We talked about that today.
Not
They're really good
deflecting,
at changing the subject and making it about you. It's
Right.
constant. You have to be really quick. And I'm still learning that because it's very painful, because empaths will take on that hate and say, oh my God, what did I do? Did I do that? And you're there in that while they're spewing. Now imagine all these negative words like black smoke. All of a sudden, the conversation where you tried to have with the narcissist to try and fix things or try and work something out try and communicate with them, all of a sudden became about you being this horrible person, and you walk away in a cloud of black smoke. So we can't hear you.
No,
There you are.
sorry. I was just told that. Is anybody having a hard time hearing us anywhere?
I don't know how.
Wayne says he
They're
can't
all
hear.
talking on
Yeah, Wayne
Facebook.
says he can't hear us at all.
On YouTube?
Well, we've got people from YouTube on, so
Yeah,
I
maybe
don't
he
know.
needs to hit his volume or restart.
Yeah,
Maybe he didn't hit the
restart.
little what's it called, the speaker at the bottom. Sometimes I forget to turn the mute off.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to say
Hi,
that.
Sherry
Hey,
Berry.
Sherry.
Hello.
Yeah,
Hello, beautiful.
I completely loud and clear.
Loud and
Yeah,
clear,
see,
yeah.
there we go. So we know there's. Well, I mean, the chat room's lighting up. So
Yeah, maybe Wayne just try the mute, the speaker.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Let's just try that. Okay.
Oh, Chris says narcissistic people tell you all the time you're overacting. You know what? They do, but a lot of people tell empaths that they're overacting. They're not necessarily narcissistic. Empaths get that a lot because they're super sensitive. So they will often be told, you're too sensitive. You're taking that personally. I think you should look at it this way. Never tell someone how they should feel. Ask them, what makes you feel that way? And then see if they're misinterpreting it. But don't come out and tell them that they're oversensitive. That's not a bad thing.
Exactly.
It's not an ugly thing. It's a beautiful thing. Without their oversensitivity, you might not have a friend. So,
yeah,
because an empath will take more bullshit than anyone I know.
It's true. I mean, in a sense, empaths are stronger, but you are sensitive to all energies, and I mean, it's not even so much, narcissistic people. I think when it comes to toxic people, on average, can they help it? I don't know that they can help it. I mean, you always have to remember people have stories. We don't know what their upbringing is. We don't know what their story is. But I think as you become adults, straighten that crap up, because you're going to find yourself really lonely moving forward. And those are the kind of people that attract attachments. Right? I mean, they really do. People, dark things are attracted to people who cause ruckus and upheaval in other people's lives. So you have to get to that point where be self-aware.
And think of how dangerous that is for an empath to come across a narcissist with an attachment. That's a feeding ground for that entity.
All the time. It happens all the time. Well, for sure it is. For sure it is. Then you get into the whole divide and conquer thing, and next thing you know, one of you guys are isolated, and it's usually the person, who is looked at as the weak link. So it is really difficult. Being an empath is probably one of those abilities.
My middle name is Ruckus and Upheaval.
Yeah. In a nice way. Definitely not.
He's a gentle soul.
Definitely not narcissistic. Far from it. But I think we need to become. It comes down to self-awareness. That's a big one. because I've known toxic people, and if you
Still
point it
do.
out enough,
They haven't gone away.
I know.
Some of
But
them are blood related, so we're kind of stuck.
it makes it really hard. Yeah, people with abilities can attract attachments for sure,
Absolutely.
because you're the one that's aware. And you know how
Or
many times
clearing it.
you have people, yeah, you have people with abilities who maybe don't know how to use them properly, maybe aren't aware
Yeah,
that they have them. There's
absolutely.
that falls under a whole other thing, you know. Um, we,
Yeah, I think that empaths really get a hard
mm, they have a
they're
hard go of it.
they have a hard go of it, but people are really nasty when they don't understand it. They just think that there's something mentally wrong. You're just weak. Toughen up.
Well, I
And
think
why
it's
do you care about that person? Well, if I
it's the
knew, I'd be
world
able to
that you
turn it
live
off.
in. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the world that you live in, you know.
yeah,
Attracted to our light. Yes, I
yeah.
absolutely believe it's like all dark things. And I don't want to say that all narcissists are dark. I mean, it's not that they are. Some
No,
people can't help it. Some people are products of their upbringing, their environment. But
yeah.
somewhere along the
Rarely they're
line, you
aware
have
of
to
it.
have accountability.
Yeah,
Counseling
rarely.
is a good one, right?
Narcissists are rarely accountable, and there's different types of narcissism. There's not just
Right,
this one bubble. You have the covert, like Nicole Antoinette was talking about with her
right.
ex. You have different ones. You have ones that have tendencies, but it's like empath. It's the same thing. You can have empathic traits and not necessarily be a
Hmm.
strong empath. Sherry, when I put the last pedophile in jail, all the family threatened my life. It can get serious, but empaths are incredibly passionate people with an overwhelming need to
Agreed.
help. And it's probably what's going to be the end of us. But
Absolutely.
I'd rather go out doing good than harm.
Exactly. And this is something I agree and I don't agree, Chris. We have the knowledge to get attachments gone. You would be surprised how many people do not. I've been working with people for 20 years, roughly, doing this sort of thing. And I can tell you, like Amelia and I started working together 4 years ago. And it started out where we were probably doing between, this is going to sound really wrong, we were working with between 60 to 80 people per week
Oh, it was
worldwide. Now we're
insane.
down
We
to maybe
worked every
half of
single
that.
day, though. Yeah.
But, so I mean, the fact that we're down about half of that a week to me is really good. But there's so many people, you would think they would know how, but just because you have the gifts doesn't mean you know how to use them. And it doesn't mean you have a confidence to do what it takes to put yourself out of, get yourself out of a bad situation. So, Nicole, you're sweetie.
True
Wayne,
empath, Nicole.
exactly.
Uh,
Wayne, you want to get
People
that?
don't like me throughout my entire didn't like me throughout my
Yeah.
entire life. I don't understand it, man. I fell in love with
It
you the
says
first time
like
I saw you.
you just have dark beings don't like light people.
I was shunned and picked on all the time, and I could never figure out what it was that brought this on myself. I'm so sorry. Apparently, they didn't like my light.
That's exactly
I think so
what I
because
said.
you
People
are
are
the
repelled
warmest
by that.
person. Yeah. Even
Toxic
children.
people. Exactly. Well,
There
it's
are
true.
narcissistic children. Not
People
no lies.
who are toxic are repelled
Yeah.
by someone who has a lot of light, someone who's empathic, someone who's kind. They don't like that. That
Oh,
they're taught from pretty early on.
yeah.
So
And
it's sad.
just off the cuff, you could be raising one right now. So be careful.
Yeah.
We're
But
in a
recognize the signs
we're
if
in
you're
a
a child.
generation where we're telling our kids they're amazing when they're not because we don't want to hurt their feelings, and they're winning awards when they really shouldn't be. And these are honestly, you're creating a narcissistic tendency to begin at a
Hmm.
very young age, and then it grows and it escalates.
Hmm.
Not everybody's born with it. Some people are raised
Right.
to be it. That's
Well,
also, you have to understand the differences
but
of narcissism.
can we really say that people are born narcissists? I think it's a product of your environment, your upbringing. I think everybody, here's a good question for everybody.
Psychopathic narcissists are born narcissists, though. That's what I
Okay.
mean by different types because they're
Right.
criminals.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's what I want to know. Like, do we
Yeah.
all start off as babies on an even keel? or is there something that's wired wrong to start with? Because if that's the case, that's something else that we've got to bear in mind. Like maybe these people can't help it. Can these people be, and I don't mean to say these people like you all have the plague or something, but
No.
can they go to counseling, and can they get assistance? Would it even help?
No.
Okay.
When you're talking about a
I'm playing
psychopathic,
devil's advocate.
I dare any
Yeah.
doctor to come forward, because I worked in crime for so long, and I can tell you psychopaths that kill don't even realize that they're doing anything wrong. In their mind, it's always right. They
It's
were born that
natural.
way. Sometimes it's genetic, sometimes it's drugs and alcohol as a fetus.
Mhm.
Something's not completely matured in the growth of the brain, and they're missing their frontal lobe, which gives them empathy, which gives them right and wrong,
That's
and
exactly what
love and
Nicole's saying
hate.
right now too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the
Yeah.
amygdala
The
isn't wired
amygdala is,
correctly, which prevents them from being able to feel emotions other than those. Yeah, and it comes
survival.
all from here.
Yeah.
So serial killers, it becomes, for a lot of them, it becomes, and I don't want to make this a crime show, but for a lot of them, it becomes fame, notoriety,
Right.
history. I'm a genius. They're
It's an attention
conquering something,
thing.
egotistical. Yes.
Right.
And
Right.
it
It's a look at
becomes,
me thing. Right.
absolutely. And it becomes, and they're also OCD and ADD. So they'll have a certain way, and that's why they're often caught, and there's a signature. Some take trophies, whether it's a piece of the victim or it's a piece of jewelry. They take trophies and they don't get rid of it. It's about power. Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes it is. It's a game. Sometimes in their head, it's reality. So it depends if we're talking about sociopaths don't have empathy and don't consider it of others. No, but neither are psychopaths. Psychopaths think they're geniuses and everybody else is stupid. Catch me now.
Right.
So that's a whole other show, and you need a doctor.
Right.
Her father was a sociopath.
That was
I am
fun.
so
Sure.
sorry.
Yes.
I've dealt with a few of them, and it's like dealing with a demon. You get called a lot of names.
It really can be. It's not far off. I think you end up, like I said, I think if you you obviously can't control what's coming from them, but you do have the ability to control what you have going on in your own life, your own space. If they can't respect boundaries, which most of the time they cannot. And it's funny because you have some that say, I'm sorry, I don't know why I do this. Well, I'm sorry too, because that's up to you to figure that crap out. It's not up to me to figure out your life, your psychotic freaking tendencies, your lack of respect, whatever you've got going on in here that's triggering it, go work that crap out. Because
apologies without changed behavior.
That's right. Well, it's empty words. I'm sorry. Your words don't mean anything. Actions, to me anyway, actions speak louder than words all the time. I don't care if it's something this big or something this big. Actions speak louder than words. I go by what I see. I care very little about what I hear, because unfortunately words often empty promises. If I had $1 for every time I came across a toxic person, whether in the workplace, whether in my life, in my circle, like you just don't know. But it's not up to you guys. You have to realize you cannot take on the weight of the world. You cannot take on, everybody else's, like, well, I'm like this and you're like this and we're conflicting. It's your fault. What? Do not ever take that responsibility onto your own shoulders. It is not you. It is them. And like I said, it was not until later years in my life where I could turn off a lot of stuff. And I'm so grateful that I can, I'm a firm believer in mindset, and I have been able to work my mindset to completely, and maybe that just comes with working with energy and working with dark things for as long as I have, but I have learned to completely, for the most part, because obviously I still feel, right? Because I still do what I do, but I've learned how to control what is within my space. And
Yes.
that's when it comes to emotion, things like that, I can control it pretty good. So you can do it. It can be done.
Well, that's why you are the queen of the dark realm. No, seriously, when you think about it, we joke and make light of narcissists and demons, but
That's
think
right,
about
Tina.
it.
There we go.
They both come into your life as something else.
Mm-hmm.
They love bomb you, they lure you in, they mimic something else,
Right.
and then they destroy you. And then they make you feel you can't live without them.
Right.
And
And
that
it's
you
your
can't
fault
function
that they're
in
treating you that way
yeah,
too most
you
of the
let
time.
me in, says the
Yeah.
demon, the narcissist. You can't live without me. There's
Right.
not that much difference. So, yeah, your mindset, I believe, working that
Work
dark
with
side has
what
made you stronger.
exactly. Work with
Yeah.
the
And
things that you can control. You can control
something
certain
fell.
things. You,
What? I don't know.
you have control over your life, your boundaries, your situation to a degree.
Yeah.
I know sometimes you're in situations that you can't really walk away from, but you can change how you react. For every
Yeah. And
action,
what you
there
learn.
is a reaction.
Yeah.
If you react and they know they can get you to react, it's a no-brainer. They're going to keep doing
Again,
it.
demonic narcissists. They need you to live and survive. They
It's true.
need you. They need the light. They need the empath.
Mm-hmm.
They really are a lot of similarities,
And
There's a reason why you
don't
find attachments with serial killers. There's a reason.
and people don't realize that either.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times can you tap into somebody, or you can just look at somebody, a good medium, you can look at somebody, go, there's an attachment there. But then you have to ask yourself, what came first, the attachment or the crime?
Sorry, I know I'm thinking.
Right. I know. Well, think
Chicken
about
or the
it.
egg. Same
Sometimes if
analogy.
you're narcissistic behavior or psychopathic behavior, you're basically did something come in and this is why you're like that, or is it the other way around? You behave this way, you hurt people, you attract something. Either way, it's like a dog chasing its own tail, the hamster on the wheel. It's just a vicious cycle until something gives.
When they're raised that way, they're usually raised by a narcissistic parent or a parent who has phobias, like germ phobias, and they're extra clean. And then that becomes a way for them to have to deal with stuff, like things will trigger them. And, then you get these really nasty criminals come out of that because they were raised a certain way.
Mm-hmm.
They inflict that pain, just like a child who's abused. A lot of people who come from abusive homes end up abusing it. You have to break that chain.
Mm-hmm.
And if they don't have any help, they can't break the chain. They can't help it. They don't know any different.
Right.
Narcissists, sometimes different types of narcissists are the same way. Covert narcissists are the ones you have to watch. And Nicole will tell you that one.
Right.
They know exactly.
Well, Nicole is asking, why do we as intuitives allow these people in? Good question. Everybody chime in. Why do y'all think so?
I know why I said it earlier. Can't help ourselves. We just want to help.
Right.
Just want to heal. Can't help it. I believe a lot of nurses are empathic. Do I believe that about doctors? No. I believe they're scientific mind-based. I don't believe they're so empathic as they are intuitive. Right. In the sense of which way to move and how to. I think intuition goes with that as well. And I believe paramedics are empathic, intuitive, and intuition plays a big role in public services, believe it or not. Like, nurses, paramedics, firemen, police officers have a hell of an intuition.
Right.
Bordering psychic, some of them. Zachman says, I believe they come in our lives to teach us life lessons and make us better people. Yeah,
better
that's a great
or stronger?
Way of looking at it.
That's another question. Better people or stronger? Because I think, empaths are better people. They look, at everything through the eyes of like a nurturing soul, wanting to help, service to others. Narcissists are service to self. When you have people who want to serve themselves, that right there is a red flag. But when you have people, you can tell the people who are there to serve others. I always said, Amelia and I have talked about it extensively. I've been told years ago, just asking questions out to the universe, out to just listening, to whatever comes to me, whatever information. Whenever I test equipment, I have a lot of equipment that actually speaks, and different types of ghost box and portals, and
She has
you
lots
know
of toys. They're
a
fun.
lot of toys. I have a lot of medium friends. And the one
Yeah.
thing that would come through the box would always serve. I knew it's because what it did, it was learning, it was servitude of helping other people. And only then, did I really find peace. It's one thing to be knowledgeable, but if you do not put the ability to good use, easy come, easy go. That's simple.
I want to address Nicole. Thanks. I
Which
don't
one?
think any of my narcs made me better, but the people who swooped in and helped me heal are the ones who made me better. I think that's wonderful, and I'm sure that's a big part of it, but you made you better because you decided right then and there that you weren't going to take this anymore. You have help healing, but you healed. Sorry. I just think it's
No,
important.
sorry, it was the next comment. I was laughing.
That's okay.
not your answer. So
I just read it.
That sounded dirty. Yes. yes. But it's true. Here's a song
Oh,
from
I play with
True
Michelle's
Empath.
toys. Yes, you do. She has the best Barbies in the street.
I do have some interesting pieces that I've had built, and they've really proven themselves to be phenomenal, to say the least. But you know what? At the end of it all, when you have beings from the other side coming through
Yes.
and telling you about servitude, or saying to you, this, stop asking, doing what it is you need to do, that comes from the standpoint of service to others. And those are the people that I like to have in my circle, are people who want to help others. Because if you have an ability, it means diddly squat if you can at least help people with it. However that may be, use it. Even if it's just an understanding, even if it's just educating somebody, do it. Seriously. Yeah. Yes. Nicole,
I caught that. I just didn't read it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. And here's a big one too that Nicole says, and I think this is where people who are strong empaths struggle too. She goes, I always feel like something is off with them, but I still want to give them a chance. That seems to be the big one. Not knowing maybe when you should walk away.
Sometimes I agree with you. Sometimes it's that, and sometimes we hold ourselves back because we know they can't move forward without us, and we feel guilty for walking away for ourselves. It becomes, you never want to be selfish.
Right.
It's wow.
Right.
I know exactly what you're saying, and I think a lot of people don't realize that off feeling that they're empathic. So I'm glad that you put it up there, because there's a lot of people listening that probably didn't even know that is one of the signs that you get in the feelings. Butterflies, everybody thinks, oh, I got butterflies in my stomach, I'm so in love with them. Butterflies are not always good, honey. Butterflies sometimes need to be trampled on and tossed out the door.
That's true.
Yeah, sometimes
That's
butterflies,
true.
you have to know your body, and you have to understand and really look at something, especially someone who's coming into your life. And I don't care if you're blood related or friends for 50 years. I don't care.
People change.
If they're toxic, they're toxic.
People change.
Yeah.
The person that may have been in your life in the past, we evolve.
Yeah, and we
change. Life changes you. Yeah. Hardship changes you. Stress changes you. People change you. So who you accepted as a perfect person to be in your life, whether it could be your best friend, everything calm, we finish each other's thought. I mean, Amelia and I do it, but we've only met later in life. How many friends have we been through to this point?
Thank you, Adrienne.
As people change, you have to realize you can't always change with them, and you either accept them for that, or you allow, if they become abusive, narcissistic, whatever it is that caused them to be that way, if they weren't before, you either accept it, set boundaries, and if they can't stay within those boundaries, then you need to make the hard choice of walking away. Close the
Yeah.
door. I'm sorry. We've had this conversation. I can't tell you how many freaking times I've heard this over the course of the last week. And it's
Oh
just
my
like,
God.
it's
And I said
almost
it out loud yesterday, but I want to tell you
close
because I'm
that
like, are
door.
you kidding me?
But it's in the collective. It's in the collective consciousness because
Yes.
it becomes this thing. And I've started seeing and noticing things everywhere. And it's also part of the reason that led to, after I got the message, from that listener, I'm like, you know what? Let's just talk about this and get deeper into it, because sometimes you need to close that door and you can't look back. When you're walking away from something, there's no place for you back there anymore. All you can do is simply move forward.
Yeah.
People come and go into your life, and that's the way it is. They're there either to help you achieve a certain level of consciousness, or they're there to help you experience something. Maybe you're there doing it for them. It's not always necessarily about us. Sometimes it's about the other people.
Yeah.
And you end up being
Sometimes you're the one.
collateral damage. There
Sometimes
we go. Tamara said it right
sometimes
there.
the lesson is for both. Yes. Tamara says, people come and leave our life. You need to let them leave or move them on. Sometimes it's your job to be the teacher and take it and move on. But I find that every experience is a lesson, whether it's positive or negative. And I do look for, anyone who knows me knows I look for silver linings in everything, including death. I always look for what good, and good comes out of some of the darkest things. You just have to
Take
find
the good
it.
out of it for what it is, and
Yeah.
leave the negative where it belongs. There's no place
Yeah.
for it in your life.
But you have to want to find it. You can't just, it's so much easier to take negativity than it
Yes.
is to look for positivity. Positivity is work. If you put as
The
much
glass is
energy,
always half empty. How many
yeah,
people say
and I
that
always
instead
say,
of half full?
I say it's refillable. I'm like, you can fill it again. I
That's
saw
right.
it once and I'm like, oh my God, that's so true. It's refillable. Let's
it
put
is.
that in the collective.
It
You
is.
know, the
And
glass
that's important.
is
What you put
refillable.
out there comes back to you. If you're going to put
Exactly.
positive things into the collective consciousness, remember, we're all connected, then that comes back to you in one form or another. If you're spewing out stuff, your subconscious doesn't know the difference with the things that you're saying about yourself or things in your space. So that's what it gives you. You
Yeah.
want to get away from that. So Wayne says,
no glass. Do you hear me? No glass.
he also says many
I'll
paths
buy
will
you one.
cross, some will entwine for years, while other paths only intersect briefly to give or receive a message, and then interaction moves on to other places and people. 100%.
That's right. Jessica's a strong empath. So yeah.
There you go. I'm glad that you
My
caught
niece.
the show also.
Yes.
I know. Q&As is so
My
much fun.
baby.
It's not even a
Yes.
Q&A. It's just like a jam session, which is
Well, I
just like
messaged
really
our
awesome.
group chat. We're doing Q&A tonight. So my nieces will be here. Yeah.
I know.
But
You know.
well, they're all empathic. So it's really interesting that we're doing this because they are all empathic.
More
and I
people
didn't know
are
that when I
empathic
told them.
than they realize, you know.
But I had no idea you were going to do the empath thing when I
know, but I
them.
got the message, and with all the
There's a
freaking close
reason
the door comments I've been hearing about,
for
I'm just like,
everything. Close the door.
close the door and move
Close the
on.
door.
Only then
It's
can you open
right.
another door to something new. I think new journeys and new adventures are exciting, but so many people fear it. They don't know what to expect. Therefore,
You know
they
what
fear
else
and they
people
hang
fear?
on to the same old stuff that's
Growth.
toxic and hurting them.
They feel growth. They fear growth
It's
because
true.
they fear failure, not because they feel growth. Because everybody wants to grow, everybody
Right.
wants to do better, you know. And I always say, like, if you there's this. I came across this psychiatrist's article on, and believe it or not, Huffington Post Canada a long time ago. It's been, oh my God, at least 6 or 7 years. So, anyways, I came across this article. This was when my daughter was a contributor, and he said to change, people believe that if they're this way, they can't change to that way, meaning negative to positive, which is bull. If you start with one small thing every day,
Right.
You know, it's like a diet. If you remove one thing that you're
Mhm.
eating that you know you're not supposed to be eating every day, eventually over time,
Right.
you know, you lose the weight, whatever. If you change a negative in your head to a positive coming out of your mouth at least once a day, you will find yourself doing it more and more and more.
It's true.
I
You
caught myself,
are,
yeah,
you attract what you put out there.
exactly. I caught
Right.
myself being negative because I was watching so much news at the time. So I
Mhm.
caught myself being really negative, and I'm like, wow, this is really killing me. So I applied his theory. I watched things
Mm.
and looked at things and people. I'm a people watcher when I'm having a coffee. So if you see me and I see you, it doesn't mean I know you or recognize you. I just watch people when I'm having coffee. I love it. I love
Mhm.
seeing how people live when
Mhm.
they don't know. You know, I'm not a creeper. I gotta watch how I say that. But
I know.
anyways,
Mm.
what I'm trying to say is where I would have said, instead of looking for something negative, I look for something positive in every person that passes me. Like, oh, wow, that's a beautiful hat. Or, oh my God, look how naturally confident and beautiful she is. You
Mhm.
know, I shared a video with a male friend of this woman dancing on a pole who, and not in that kind of way. She was
Mhm.
a heavy set woman. And you know what I found about her? Her sex appeal was her confidence. Her confidence is something that I know I can't
It
do,
can be contagious if you
right?
allow
And
yourself
I'm like,
to fall
look at
into it.
her. She
Yeah.
is fabulous. Other
Right.
people would look at her and say,
Right.
oh my God, she's overweight. What's she doing on the pole? I look at her as going, look at that confidence. She's
Mhm.
incredibly core strong. Look at her go. She can dance. Man, like this is nice.
But that's the
Nothing is more
problem is
attractive than somebody who loves themselves.
if you love or if you allow somebody to come into your life. I've met a lot of people throughout my life, a lot of friends that I've had throughout the years. And whenever they meet someone, it's almost like their interests get put aside and they take on all of the interests and hobbies of their significant other. And that's okay. But
Yeah.
you need to have balance. I think that's a start. You're shelving yourself and your interests, and you are pretty much molding yourself in a way. And if
Yeah.
that's what
Or being
happens,
submissive.
but if that's what happens
Yeah.
as the years go by, if this is the message that you're giving, then that's going to stick. It's like, well, what do you mean you don't want to do this? You've wanted to do it before. Again, people change, right? Don't fear change. Embrace change, look at it as a new journey, and really set boundaries. Whether you're dealing with toxic people or not, this is your space. People can be very draining, not because they're narcissistic, not because they're intentionally doing it. Life gives you a lot of baggage, and it's hard. Some people have difficulty juggling it all. No matter how much money you have, what position you have in life, there's always something that is going to give you a hurdle. So I think what I've done for myself is I have set those boundaries, and we're going to slip over now. Zach, I know you have a question that's further back in the stream, and we will get to that too. Let's talk about boundaries a little bit. So Amelia and I were talking actually for a little while today, and we just got talking about people who are mediums or people. In my case, I've been pretty straightforward in my life about the fact, and any interview I have done, I don't do professional readings. If you happen to be with me and there's somebody that's got a message for you, I'll blap it off and that'll be the end of it. I leave it there. That has been my choice since I realized at a very young age, probably at about 18, when my very best friend at the time came up to me and asked me a question along the lines of, is my boyfriend cheating on me? Me, being her best friend, went, yeah. No etiquette, okay? But she almost took her life.
You were
And
just a
she,
kid
she
too,
tried
though.
to take her life. But yeah, but I
Yeah.
still realized at that point it was a big impact in my life. And I realized I do not ever want this responsibility again. So I'll use my abilities to work with people, locations, things like that. When I film, it's just like, okay, blah, 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 blah. But with myself, it's just because I've been in the public eye for the last 2 decades. And Amelia and I have 2 different scenarios here that we're going to share with you. And I try to be so gracious with my time because I love
And
and
she
appreciate.
is. I've been with her.
I do. I try. I appreciate everyone who has followed me over the years. I get a lot of messages and say, "Oh my God, I love to watch you on television. I love how you explain things. Thank you for what you do." I am so appreciative, and I appreciate everyone, and all the comments, whether they're good or bad. It's something. Thankfully, I don't get very many bad ones. But where it gets difficult for me is, you know, children are forever. Children will come to me and they'll want photographs, and it doesn't matter what I'm doing. I stop and yes, of course, and I'll talk to them. And I will talk to people for a couple of minutes every time someone comes out to me. Sometimes I'm out with my family and we're trying to have dinner or we're just trying to get through some shopping really quick. I have a story. It's like, can maybe email it to me or something because I'm
It's
kind
like,
of in a
oh,
hurry.
really?
I know. It's just like, okay, or
You never
I've,
say
I've,
no.
and I never say no. I've been out at restaurants where my food has gone cold, because I really,
I've missed a whole meal.
yes, it's what I'm saying. Like I'm sitting there and, because I've got like 2 or 3 people who have stories they want to share, and I'm appreciative of everyone, but sometimes it's just a little bit inconvenient, and that's where again boundaries come up. And I don't even set boundaries with myself. I say set your boundaries. I don't even set boundaries with myself because
hard.
I'm the people who follow me mean everything to me because they're part of the reason why I still keep going in media, you know. Uh, thanks, Zach, man. Thank
She's
you.
my
I
favorite
feel the
redhead
same.
too.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's not easy. I remember being at a bridal shower. Oh, this is way before the pandemic.
Yeah.
And I couldn't say no because someone in the close part of the wedding party brought a few women up to me who have lost children, and I can never walk away from that. I missed the entire meal because I was behind the stairwell reading these women, and I don't do readings. I don't do them, but there were messages to be given because they were children,
That's
and
true. Yes.
I can't walk away from that.
Mm-hmm.
But I missed the entire meal. My daughter was in the wedding party. It was very, I felt happy I could help, but in a selfish way, I was upset that
Mm-hmm.
2 hours of my life was spent there. But then I think, well, 2 hours of my life gave them some peace, maybe for the
It
rest of
does.
theirs.
But you know what?
But it's hard because
It's a
I
message.
could have just said, here, give me your information and I'll call you and we'll talk tomorrow.
Right.
And we'll do this tomorrow. That's what I had to. And I learned that
Mm-hmm.
from that occasion. And then the pandemic happened. So no, nobody asked me. I
Right.
don't do readings. So please stop messaging me on Messenger. I don't read my messages. Please don't contact me through
It's
my
really
website
hard on
unless you
Messenger,
have
yeah.
a crime or
Mhm.
a missing child. I check that all the
Mhm.
time.
Mhm.
But people are messaging me and saying, how much do you charge for readings? I'm going to tell you something. I never charged for readings. I tried, it didn't work for me. And it's okay to charge for readings because you're giving up your time. And some people give up that time to do these readings, and that's the only way to make a living for them.
Mhm.
And that's fine. And I think you have to charge because people only understand a service has been given if they've paid for it. And it's really sad, but that's humanity.
Right.
Otherwise, you're constantly being, constantly communicating with you, and it has to stop at a certain point.
You become a lifeline. I notice that even with people that we've helped, people I've helped like over a couple of decades, I've had to say, whoa, put the brakes on. People on an average now are pretty good, and I'm always honored to help somebody. I really am.
Absolutely.
I've never been that researcher that's, you should be privileged. I'm helping you. It's never been that way. It's always been along the lines of, well, thank you for trusting me enough to help you, first of all.
Took the words right out of my mouth. Seriously, it really does feel like that. It's like such an honor. Thank you.
You go the distance, and that's just the way it is. But
yeah,
there are people who who after a while stop trying to even help themselves. They basically, no, well, we'll just call you, I
I
get
went
an
through
email, we're
that.
just gonna call you guys, and here it is. It's just like, but what about, we're only half the equation. The rest is a mindset. It's somebody else. We can go in and give you that head start and give you the upper hand and teach you how to have the upper hand. This goes to Sherry's comment. Sherry is a
Sherry's
champion
an incredible medium.
because we've been
Yeah.
working with Sherry for a really long time, and Sherry, well, if I say, Sherry, I need this, and this, then you have to do this, and this. Sherry does it tenfold.
Sherry's the best.
Exactly. But this is what we
she
need people to understand.
she
We're
really
happy
puts
to
in
help,
her, yeah.
but we're half the equation, right? So that's just the way it goes.
We're miracle
Hey,
workers.
Tara.
We're just a part of that, Oh, thank you, Tara. But no, we're just part of, everybody has a place in the world, and believe it or not, we're all helping someone somehow. Just
It's true.
ours stands differently because it's a different field. It's more whatever.
It's true.
I couldn't clean teeth or pull a tooth or
No.
do a heart transplant. And I think those are some pretty gifted people. I can't work on my feet as a cashier. And I think those women and men that, and non-binary, these people that work these positions, I think they should be treated a lot better than they are, because they work long hours on their feet, and they have to deal with everybody's energy one after the other for hours at a time.
That's true.
Give them more credit. My gosh,
That's
give
true.
them a pat on the back.
We all have our part to play.
Absolutely.
And
yeah.
That's going to bring us to Zach Mann's question.
Ooh.
I know. Demonic narcissist. Okay, that works. I just kind of blend it all in a little bit.
Do you want to read it, or you want me to?
No,
I
go
wasn't
ahead.
sure.
No,
okay.
Yeah.
Speaking of demonic narcissists, Zach, I'm curious as to what you ladies believe what demons are. Do you consider them fallen angels or spirits of Nephilim? I'll give that to Michelle.
Well, I can definitely start with it. I think that depends on the mindset of the individual, to be honest, because if you're a religious person, if you're, for example, Christian Catholic, you're going to say they're one of the fallen. If you're a Gnostic, you're going to probably agree with the fact that they're archons, which, are these malevolent beings that sit from above and literally do everything to make our life a living hell, control it, feed off that energy. They're all connected in one form or another. I think if you are a ufologist, you might just say they're draconians, they're reptilians. Nephilim, again, that falls into, some people tell you back Anunnaki. So we're getting a little bit of ET in there. We're getting a little bit of children of fallen angels and human women. There's a lot of different ways you can look at it, but I think in the end, it really has more to do with your belief system. As to what I think they are, I think demons are different for everyone. But one thing that seems to be agreed upon is the fact that you have these dark entities, which could be dimensional, interdimensional. They can come through, again, portals. They can come through your mind. I mean, can you create something like that? You can project energy, create poltergeist activity. Some researchers will tell you everything is self-projected or poltergeist. There's really, nothing that's really super demonic. I think for those who go in there and can see them, they may say, you know what, I know that freaking thing exists. But again, some people will say there's so many different kind of ET races, that some of the things that we've seen, it's kind of like, I've heard people say, no, this is an extraterrestrial, call this. This is an extraterrestrial, call that. I do know this as well. And you're going back to the Old Testament and things of that nature, and going back into old folklore. A lot of the pagan deities or deities from ancient cultures have pretty much been renamed in the Catholic faith or the Christian faith as demons. But when you really go in and delve and look for them, you will find that these were revered beings. But when the church came in and amalgamated some of these ancient cultures into Catholicism or Christianity, everything got amalgamated and things started changing and having different places. So again, that's my take. But one thing about these darker energies or certain entities, they are there to feed off of our energy. And that's a big archon thing, but our energy. So why do they keep war on this planet? Why do they create division? Why do they create, why do they, amp up these conditions that we have? Anxiety, depression, addictions, all of these things, anger, rage. Why can't they feed off positive energy? We're happy, we're putting out that energy and it's just amazing stuff. No, it has to be dark energy. And one film I always laugh at, believe it or not, is Monsters Inc. Because
I love
Monsters Inc., you've got these two little monsters going out there, and just the fear would feed the energy. Watch the energy levels go up. And it took little Sully to go around and say, no, I'm a comedian. We're going to get even more energy by making kids laugh. It really is like that. But it is darkness. It's why you see so much of it in this world. And the only way that changes is if we have this, awakening, and we change our vibrations and our frequencies, and we make it so they can't feed from us anymore. That's my take. Bubbles?
Oh, what she says. I'm with Michelle on that. I mean, we couldn't work together if we weren't like-minded, and everything I know because of her. So from my experience working with Michelle, when I thought it was something in particular, I've had doubts and seen something else. I agree that mindset is everything. I agree that whatever it is feeding off of us and playing with us.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing I can say about my Catholic upbringing and how I see demons in that perspective, because I look at it as a medium, as a Catholic, as Buddhists don't even believe in them. Why don't they have any exorcisms? They don't even believe in them. That's
true.
Whole other show.
They don't.
And no, and they don't have any exorcisms or they don't have any possessions. They don't have any of that.
No.
So it begs to, you to ask that question, are they just vibrating on a higher frequency and that's why they're untouchable?
Buddhism isn't a religion either.
No, it's not. It's a
lifestyle. That's right.
Yeah. And, right. And Buddhism, believe it or not, is really big in Italy right now. A lot of the new generation are following this way.
Because you can incorporate it into any religious belief system because it is a way of life.
Yes.
So that goes hand in hand, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And I just what I wanted to say with the Catholicism, when you look at it from a Christian point of view, not necessarily a Roman Catholic Church, but when you look at it at a Christian point of view, and then I've got another point to make on top of that, they need an invitation to come in. ETs don't. So it kind of, it's really hard because you're doing this with it. Mm-hmm. I believe they exist. I believe that some ET races may look like them. It's just from experience, not just belief. But I also understand that the Roman Catholic Church is really the only, I always do these stupid air quotes. I really need to sit on my hands. They're the only organization that seems to be able to exorcise people. And is that because the followers believe? No, but that's how they feel. The rite of exorcism is Catholic. It is theirs.
The rite of exorcism,
yes,
but there are others who can do it.
Yes, but they believe that they're the only ones, and their followers believe in these demonics and in all of this. So it's a tough one.
Well, I'm going to add to that because you asked that question. Is it because the followers believe? How about let's put a twist on it? Because you have Christianity, Catholicism, how they amalgamated all of these gods. This is all through oral folklore history. Maybe there's documents somewhere, and we all know the Vatican has everything, right? Could they possibly have saying, well, there's this demon, which they knew was maybe a deity or a god of this. It was revered by the people to be this god. This is how they would pay homage to it, or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm.
Is this why they can go in and say, well, we're just going to get rid of this by doing the rites of exorcism, because we don't know. We don't all speak Latin and Aramaic. We don't know what the hell they're really saying unless you speak it.
I have a Latin dictionary. That's about it.
But is it because maybe there's some insight there because they're trained there? Could it possibly be that they have maybe a little bit of insight that it's an advantage to maybe some of the other organized religions? Curiosity to me, you look at staunch Christians, like born again Christians, for example, because I know I worked with a team that came in to do their version of an exorcism, and there were 2 places that were infected, as I say. They came in only into one place, spent 2 hours. She did this thing called speaking in tongues, which was completely amazing to me, because as a researcher, I'd love to learn this stuff. I like to see what's out there. In 2 hours, they cleared both places, never stepped foot in the other one, and never had an issue. After that, I think it was like 2 years before something even tried to rear its head. And I thought to myself, wow. And these people were sent around by their organization or their church, and they performed their version of exorcism all over the world. It was a form of deliverance. Yeah. Because there's different types. And the one they were doing, I was just like, that's amazing. We waited because the family was that born again Christian. We had to wait, and we had to deal with who they wanted. So we waited something like 11 months for them, and it was just mind blowing to me. It was like, so again, is it intention? Is it again mindset? I think it has a lot to do with that.
All the above. Bit of both. I think it's. Zach, you asked a really good question, but I don't think there's one answer.
Yeah.
I Nephilim, so fallen angels. I believe they're all fall into that. I believe that demons like angels never walked the earth kind of thing. Not the whole never, never. But you know what I mean? Didn't. How the way some Christians believe angels never walked the earth, and that's why they're angels.
But were they, as per the Old Testament, were they gods?
I know. We don't know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Yeah. We don't really know that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, it's just so hard because we see everything, and it's how do you group it into one? Mm-hmm. If you asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have told you demonics are something that, were ancient and come from the darkness and the 7 levels of hell, like the Inferno, Da Vinci's Inferno.
But there are even priests now. I watched there was a written interview with a Catholic priest, and he goes, "Hell doesn't exist. It's here. It's here in the mind." And I'm thinking, what? But
that's hard because it contradicts everybody believes the 10 commandments. I always bring up this question because they're like, yeah, there really are 10 commandments, and Moses really did come.
There's more of them. There was something like 800 of them.
But they don't tell you that he came down from that mountain until 40 years later. Like, of course he could write them all. Like, we don't know.
No, but allegedly there are something like there's hundreds of no wonder it took him 40 years.
Well, we're all going to burn in hell if there's hundreds of tablets. I mean, what is on there that we haven't already done?
I know.
I've blown a few commandments, so like I'm just trying. I'm looking out for myself here. But
every man for himself.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But like I have that thing sits with me, and I think it's Catholic guilt. Being raised as a Roman Catholic and in the school system. And I think, and I always questioned Father Jim, and he used to get so annoyed with me, and now I know why.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. He's like, Amelia, this is the way to. No, it's not. It doesn't
there's
seem
many ways.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. religion.
I'd
It's
argue him. It's in the
yeah.
movie. He comes down like a month later. I said, in the Bible, it's like 40 years. I could write 100 tablets in 40 years too, Father Jim. And he's like, oh,
Well,
you know.
they roamed the desert for 40 years, though. I think it was, wasn't it?
Yes, but they say
Yeah.
that he took forever to write these tablets, and there aren't
Right.
just 2 tablets. Well, who chose those 2 then? Like, these things go through my head.
I know. I think that's the difference between the Old Testament and the New Testament. I think, you're dealing with different, the Old Testament spoke of gods, and, the New Testament speaks of God. You have different names. You have real names. Hell, the Old Testament, put your seatbelts on, people, will even tell you that God had a wife. Bam. There's so much information there that you just don't know.
Sherry, I got kicked out of Sunday school too. Sorry.
Left out of the New Testament, so you don't know.
I got kicked out of Sunday school, and then my mother sent me to Catholic school so I could get my communion, because I literally got kicked out for, well, it's a different reason. You got kicked out for saying Jesus had a brother. I don't know why they would do that, because
that's ridiculous.
It's spoken of.
Yes.
So it just doesn't make any sense. You had a terrible Sunday school teacher.
Yes. Clearly when it wasn't versed.
When you're in Sunday school, you're a teacher. What teacher throws you out for speaking? You're a child.
No, you'd be
Not
surprised.
when you're in Sunday school, you're a teacher. You're a child. Sorry.
Okay. Before we get to this next question, we're going to do a station
I have to
and
find my
sponsor ID, and then we'll get on to Adrian's question.
Yeah. Why can't I get it?
Bum, bum, bum.
1 second. I'm gonna have to do this by heart. You think I would know it by now? I'm going to just have to swing it because I can't find my bar. There we go.
We'll let it go this time.
Oh my God, I'm such an idiot. Seriously, kids, not enough coffee today. And if you're on my Facebook, I call everybody kids and bambini. That's out of love. You're listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM. Tonight, we've got us in the house and you in the house with us, and we're doing a Q&A. It's always our favorite. We enjoy this, and it's so nice to have so many people interacting with us. If you're just tuning in, don't worry. It'll be on SoundCloud very soon. You can stream or listen to our archives on any platform. It doesn't have to be SoundCloud. Any platform that you use, just search United Public Radio, and you'll be able to find The Outer Realm right there. Shout out and thank you to the people at Folgers Coffee. You have no clue how much we love you. For fully sponsoring our show from day one. Thank you so very much. And to our good friend and amazing award-winning composer, Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, Justin Snicker, for our intro and outro. He's a composer and a musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp, and find him on Facebook and Instagram. He's actually releasing a new album ready for Halloween. He posted that today.
Mm-hmm. And before we start, Renee Dykes as promised.
Hi, Renee Dykes here. I'm with Paranormal Adventure Events. Also, my team is Tennessee Night Stalker Paranormal Intrigue. And as people know, when you go on ghost hunt, you've got to have the go juice. And what's scarier than the mug that I have right here is not having this right here. I even carry my own K-Cup coffee maker with me, a little mini, when I go on ghost hunts around other states. Yeah, that's how dedicated I am to Folgers. Thank you.
Yay!
See how
Hi,
easy
Chris.
it is, people?
My nephew's here.
Easy.
Hello, Chris.
Woohoo.
Jessica's right behind him with the Folgers cup.
Okay, so here's another question that I'm not sure even I have an answer to this. Are either of you aware of modern day woman giving birth to a demon?
No. Really?
Well,
Not me.
I don't like to ever call children demons. Doesn't behave like them.
I
And
don't
we've
know.
got
Is
one
this
next door screams all day long.
is this a new age omen?
I don't know. I really don't have an answer to that. Here's my take on it. Let's hypothetically look at something. And again, this isn't so much that she's giving birth to a demon, but what happens? Let's chime in on this, guys. Get ready for this. Let's say the mom has an attachment. Mom gets pregnant, mom delivers child, demon moves in to attach to the baby. I don't know. What would the child be like? That's the only thing. I can't think of a full-blown demon, Amelia.
No, I was just okay. The text side of me is saying what makes it a demon to you, and what are they classifying demon, like appearance or behavior or both?
Okay.
Because how do you know?
Well, extraterrestrials have hybrids that are half and
Yes.
half. So if you're looking at it that way, let's say you have a reptilian breeds with a female, but apparently this has been done. Hence why we've got a lot of the characteristics that we have. Why we have even the negative blood type.
Do demons even have souls?
Do they even have souls?
That's a good question.
That is a good question.
They are a living, breathing thing, though. Or are their souls condemned?
Well, demons themselves, again, it falls into what you think they are. ET, absolutely.
Immortal.
They are. But are they essence? I mean, demons can definitely project anything they want you to. So can draconians and reptilians. They can channel you. They can jump into you. They take
souls.
So that's energy form.
They take souls. They
take
need
souls.
them. So
they need to feed from the essence.
So then they wouldn't have them.
Right. So
I think we just figured that one out together, Adrian.
There we go.
That's right.
They don't have the light of the creator. Absolutely not.
No, so they wouldn't.
If you follow mainstream religion, they will tell you that they were, created in the light of the creator. So
were they? Because this is the confusion for me, Michelle.
Okay.
Angels, choirs of angels, hierarchies, choirs of demons, hierarchies.
Yep.
They can't all be fallen souls, and these all can't be beings of light, because some of them are nasty angels. And people think the arcs are like
think they look like.
No, and they think the arcs are. And I love the arcs. We love you. We love you. I believe in angels. I really do. Can't work without them. What I'm trying to say is there are some higher up that can be really
there's a hierarchy
nasty
in everything.
Yeah.
Sherry's got a great comment with this. If you want to catch it.
Yes, thank you. My opinion based on experience is that demonics cannot physically incarnate. However, they can attach and possess, feeding on the human soul's energies. Absolutely. Very well said. Right. Wayne, I often wonder if there are demons that are really tired of being on the side of darkness. Do you think they could be allowed to come into the light?
I think any being can go into the light if they have the conscious level or ability to want to. I think a lot of stuff is energy based. I really do. A lot of it is mindset. A lot of these beings, and I'm not talking, maybe the little devil types, but I think if you're getting into some of these big kahunas, as I call them, if these were indeed revered as gods at one time, then chances are you may have been dealing with extraterrestrials all along. And again, how many books? I think we're like 14 books that were cut out of the New Testament. There were a lot of cultures and ancient civilizations amalgamated into all of this. And a lot of these cultures existed thousands of years before Christianity and Catholicism.
Yeah.
Just because they're the newest kid on the block, essentially. Okay, Catholicism. So when you look at that and they're taking from everything, maybe it's a matter of looking back to what these beings really were, because you'd be surprised they are not all what you've been told. You haven't, and you don't take my word for it. All the research is out there. Anybody can go and find it. But I think it's definitely a possibility. This part two. If the demon is another race, then it's like having to change their species, which is impossible as far as I understand. No, unless you
Sorry.
interact, hybrids, that sort of thing, because that does happen all the time. You'll have people who will tell you that essentially we are all a product of interacting with other species throughout, thousands and thousands of years. But if you're looking at face value, a demon is a demon.
I think some humans are demons.
More so, absolutely. I agree. So that's a really tough question. If they are another race, no, they can't just change their species. But it doesn't mean, like, where does it say, well, because you look like this, you can't change for the better? There have been stories of darker energies basically helping people. If you look at the Luciferians, they'll tell you exactly how to work with different, dark entities. And Wayne says this for a reason. Yellow and blue makes green, right? Absolutely. Explain, Wayne. I want you to do it. Mixing yellow and blue makes green. Think the eyes.
Oh, I know.
Think eyes, people.
Stared at
eyes,
a few too many sets of yellow eyes in my life.
Yeah, there we go. So I don't know. I think that it all comes down to research. It comes down to mindset. It comes down to religious belief system. We are born into our families, and this is something that gets passed down. It's we have history. We have belief systems that get instilled into us. We have education system that gets instilled into us. This is something we take with us throughout our life. But is it all accurate? Well, we all know that we're undereducated for the most part. We're taught things in school that absolutely, unless you want to follow certain paths in life, are completely useless to many people. But yet things that we should be taught, like how to balance a bloody checkbook or a bank account,
can't do it.
How to survive, how to write a check, how to maintain, pay rent, pay bills. Like, it's just stuff that we're not taught. So here it is.
Check. They're not being taught how to write checks anymore.
Yes.
Wayne says reptilian race with yellow eyes mating with blue-eyed humans made the green eyes with red hair hybrids.
You know what? I agree.
Like,
I do agree with this to a point. I think it's like what Joe had explained. We've talked about this on the Gray Zone many times. And I think he was a guest on the Outer Realm and explained it at one point as well. Up until 30,000 years ago, for the most part, the only people you had on this planet were brown hair, brown-eyed people. Somewhere along the line, things changed. We end up with an Rh negative blood type. We end up with blonde hair, red hair, blue eyes, green eyes, hazel eyes. Something changed. How did that change?
Yeah, explain the hazel. I just want someone to explain that to me one day.
Exactly.
Seriously.
Check. What's a check? Okay, I know.
I know.
Showing my age right now.
It's so funny. I've had the same checkbook for 5 years.
But people still write checks. In corporations, it's easier. It's easier to balance. Then you're signing a check as opposed to, let's say, letting your employee run them up with your passwords.
And you're
right?
only allowed to e-transfer so much.
It's true.
So, I mean, I recently wrote a few big checks, so I know that.
Yes,
but
true.
Yeah, it's and they want a void check, so it's good to have them.
Yes. I think so. I think it's a good idea. So that, I think, is covering the demonic side of things. What else do we have? Any other questions?
Boundaries. We did.
Want to pop at us? Come on, do it. We've talked heavily about being empathic. Are there any other abilities you guys want to talk about? You have any haunted stories you want to put out there that maybe have left you the big question mark? How to avoid getting attachments, maybe? Be a nice person. No, wrong place, wrong time, all kinds of things with that.
How about clairsentience and dimensions?
Okay.
Not clairsentience, sorry, clairaudient and
Hearing.
dimensions.
Oh,
Yeah,
frequencies and
sorry.
things like that.
Yeah.
That's a really good topic, Amelia. Honestly, I think that frequencies, people sometimes don't realize how many layers are that dimensions that sit within our space. And sometimes you can actually hear through frequencies, not just within your own space, but I truly believe within these other spaces. I hear stuff all the freaking time. I thought I was losing my mind at one point. I'm like, God, my head is buzzing. And I think what doesn't help is living too close to power lines. These new 5G towers are behemoths. So smaller cell towers didn't emit the same way that these things do. These things are freaking huge. So I think if that happens, you're going to end up getting yourself, in a little bit of a pickle. You're going to have to try to move if you're really sensitive to it, but be aware that it's there. I hear all kinds of stuff.
I don't even know where
Bells,
it's coming from anymore.
chimes.
Sherry's good at hearing multidimensional. My nephew is asking a question that I can't believe you didn't ask me. But when did this come up to your head? May I?
Yes.
Going back to demonics, Chris, I'm surprised you're going to have nightmares tonight. Can demons follow from generation to generation in the same family, for example, from the past to the present? Absolutely. It's called generational possession.
And lives.
Yeah.
And past lives.
Yeah.
So
it's okay. I just know that you'll have nightmares. He's managed to live in a couple haunted houses.
Oh, manage. That's a good thing.
When you have that fear and then you move there, and then you got my niece, Samantha, who's empathic and intuitive, and then everything's going on, right?
Right.
So,
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's okay. You're always welcome here.
But
I won't sleep now. No kidding. I just said that. I still love you.
It's not even so much just generational. It can really travel through lifetimes with you. I don't think that these things always attach to the physical. I think they attach to the essence as well. So you end up with, boy, oh boy, sometimes you can end up with things that you didn't bargain for. Some people will call them generational curses. I think it's an energy thing. It's not just so much an attachment thing as well. Yeah. Sorry, throwing my 2 cents in there.
No, I'm glad. I call them generational possession because they are possessing that life. And sometimes that person that they possess now came from something that person's ancestor way, way back did.
Yes.
And it happened to come to the weakest link and come forward here. It all depends. We need to know what's going on to be able to, understand where it's
animals, from. Children, weak links. Speaking of weak links, because people may not understand what do you mean weak link when it comes to that. That's what we mean.
Pets are possible. Yeah.
Somebody who might be ill, somebody may have addictions or, again, a whole lot of, depression, anxiety, just things that are target that they could feed from. People who are easy to isolate. It's like taking the runt of the litter, basically easier, if you're having a hyena hunt after a wildebeest or a zebra, they're going to go after the little one. Get the little one. It's always like that, same idea. Yeah. Backtracking again to Wayne for frequencies. Look how many times we hear old radio broadcasts in the evening when nothing's going on.
Oh my God. Or when you wake up.
It's true.
When you wake up. True. I still go like this thinking I have a clock radio, which
I know.
I think this generation doesn't even know what that is, but I still do that and realize that I'm hearing something from who knows when and what time.
Exactly. I agree.
But it happens.
Why is moldavite so powerful? Well, like a lot of crystals, because if I'm not mistaken, it's a type of crystal. Crystal is a double-edged sword to me. Crystal can amplify things. We just talked about this with our guest Mark Ollie yesterday when it comes to crystal. Quartz crystal can retain words, memories, energy. It can protect you for sure. I think
because time. It's quartz movement in your watch.
that's why people do the ghost boxes with them. You know, like when you build a good one, they'll put quartz right in it. It's phenomenal. But it also, again, retains energy. It can amplify energy, which is good and it's not. Because depending on the energy that you're working with or that you may have, if you got crystal all over the place, I think it comes down again to intention.
And
You know,
remember, we had in the beginning, there was a lady who had tons of them set out under her bed, on her windowsill, and where she did her work. And
she
it
was
was
infested.
amplifying, and I felt bad for her because she
Yeah,
was a
she
Reiki,
did-
so
she
she's
did
taking,
Reiki,
she was taking everything in because she was a healer,
right.
and it was just amplifying all the negativity, and she was infested. And this is one of the first places I went to with Michelle. So you can just imagine me going, can we go do a crime scene?
It's
Because it was
tough.
one of those, oh my God, and picked off right away. She had, it wasn't just everywhere, Michelle. Remember, she had the wrong ones together.
Oh, yeah.
On top of each other. And I said, you're canceling things out.
Right. That's true. And they're not, and if you don't cleanse them regularly, that's also a problem, because if they're holding on to energy and you're using them to clear, for example, next thing you know, everything is sitting in here, and then you're going to put Reiki on somebody. Well, I have people coming in and they brought something in, but I'm thinking, but are you transferring it from one person to another because you're using the stones on people and you're not charging them properly, you're not cleansing them properly,
and they're not all cleansed the same. Some stones you can cleanse with water, and I'm not talking about tap. You know, you can cleanse with distilled water. Some stones, I know amethyst can cleanse all, and then there's some stones that need to be charged by the moon, not sunlight. So it's like when there's a full moon, you have to
anything you're going to buy.
Research the stone. If you're at home and you have crystals, look at them. If you know what they are, if not, scan them, put them through Google, and learn how to cleanse each one. Because putting them together on a tray, like I have a bunch of them together on a tray, but I'm well aware of what works with what. If you're not, you could be creating something. You could be creating an issue for yourself, or creating this even the frequency, lowering your frequencies and feeling ill. You'd be surprised. I mean, they use crystals to heal. If you have them in the wrong place, you're going to get ill.
You want something that really is good at keeping your environment cleansed. It's salt lamps, Himalayan salt lamps, because Himalayan salt lamps are natural ionizers. If you break things down with a spirit or an energy, you have negative and positive ions. In the world of ions, your negative ions are the good ones. So when you have these salt lamps, they're forever changing things around. They're moving the energy around, they're moving the ions around, and sometimes you can keep energy at bay. I had salt lamps everywhere. Believe me, the other house was loaded, every room, floor. I mean, I loved it. It just helped with headaches. It helped with so many things. But if you're not cautious, everything can work against you. You have to really learn how to use everything appropriately.
Both my nieces are on here at the same time. Samantha says Sophia her daughter really wants crystals. You know what I suggest if you're going to do a crystal for her and you're going to start with one? Do amethyst.
Amethyst is a protective stone. Yeah, it's excellent.
Do amethyst. It's pretty. I know she loves purple because I've done stuff for her. Like, just
get an amethyst lamp.
Or an amethyst lamp.
You can get amethyst lamps.
If Sophia's listening, she's definitely going to want it.
For sure.
Jessica has a salt lamp in every
room.
When
you have children who are gifted, it's really important. The salt lamp in her room is excellent. I think salt lamps everywhere are excellent. How I really hooked up with these, I remember going to a location and I was experimenting through research how to use ionizers, because it did affect the energy of the spirit. Spirits are made up of energy. Energy is made up of ions. It made sense to me scientifically from that sort of a mindset. Anyway, I went to this one location and I think, you know what? Things follow me home. I bought one that plugged into the cigarette light of my car, thinking to myself, ha, nothing's jumping in the car with me this time, blah, blah, blah. I woke up the next morning. I came out of this location. I got into my car, which was locked all night with an alarm, by the way. My ionizer had been removed from the cigarette lighter and dissected. All the pieces were laid out across the dashboard.
Jesus.
And I sat there and I went,
Yeah,
all right,
that's something that's
you
showing
win.
you its power.
That's
Yeah,
just-
no kidding. But see, know where you stand. Don't
it's
push
just
it.
like, okay. So
Yeah.
that's okay because, you know, like I said, salt lamps in the house, move that sucker. I got one that's about 70 freaking pounds. It's just like, go for it.
Yeah.
But just, again, it just comes down to learning about, I say learn about everything, but stones can be fun to work with. Oh boy, they're also amazing for health
Yeah.
properties as well. What prevents it? Yes, I believe. Well, I believe grounding works is the best way of keeping things from following
it's
you
free.
inside.
Yeah.
At the front door, it definitely keeps the energy cleansed. I think
Yeah.
it would be a little bit more difficult for things to move around because, like I said, they're natural ionizers. So
Yeah.
it's an energy thing.
I have a salt lamp in my daughter's room, and I, for Sophia, Sam, if you're still there, the amethyst, and I have obsidian because Severina's gifted, and I have obsidian there to protect
Black
her as well.
Tourmaline as well.
Black
is
tourmaline is
phenomenal.
also there.
It's
Black tourmaline is
phenomenal.
all over my house. It's on every windowsill, and you can buy it
I've
in bulk.
ordered them in bulk.
Yeah,
raw
you
black
can order
tourmaline.
them in bulk, and they're
I
raw.
leave it with everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I have them on all my windowsills in
Yeah.
the rooms that I'm most in. Salt
Yeah.
lamps for me are a deterrent.
Mm.
They will hinder my ability to see.
It's energy, right?
Yeah.
It's
I have to fight against it. So for me, it doesn't work, but I do put it in my selenite is right here.
Yeah.
On my.
Yeah, I've got selenite. I love it.
Oh, I don't know. Oh, it's so heavy.
Yeah.
This is selenite. And of course, I collect rosaries. So they're like all over here because they've been gifts and that.
Yeah.
But this is what my cousin
Great
calls
for meditating with.
Superman's. Moonstone is good.
Moonstone is protective. It's good.
Yeah. If she picked it, she's drawn to it. That's the stone for her. That's how what I believe, anyways. But you have to be careful because some people are. Oh God.
Tiger's eye is also very protective.
Yeah.
You've got malachite that's also very protective. You've got there's so many protective stones.
Yeah, aquamarine, tumbled aquamarine, raw aquamarine is not as expensive as going into a jewelry store, and it's you have to be careful with that because it does help you see.
Which you're not going to be able to prevent necessarily either. So if you're prepared to see, then I suggest you start learning some grounding techniques right off the bat, even before people think all you have to do is meditate. Well, meditating opens you up. I think you should ground yourself before you do that. And you might, especially if you're seasoned, I say have at her. Mind you, I have seen some of the most seasoned mediums or, even spiritual people who have meditated their whole lives get themselves into trouble. I highly recommend grounding. It doesn't take long to do. Bubbles, yeah, I'm one of those people.
I've done it. Meditation. Oh yeah, I fell for that cleanse your third eye thing. And all kinds of stuff happen because you don't know, unless they're reputable, you don't know who's doing that meditation. And I didn't know much at the time. I was just starting. So this is over 10 years ago. And you're naive and you have faith and trust that if it's on the internet, that's how it was. It's this we're talking about over 10 years ago.
Right.
And a lot of people will go onto YouTube and think, oh, this meditation is free. I'm going to try this. I like the voice, blah, blah, blah. Right. Make sure this person is reputable and credible before you do it, because you don't know what kind of vibes or what they're doing. They could be sending out who knows what. Attachments.
No, you're not wrong. Again, it comes down to, you'll notice everything we've actually talked about tonight comes down to educating yourself, being aware of things, doing your research. If you do proper research on something, don't just go out and buy it because it looks pretty. Just research it and say, you know what? Okay, this would be a good fit. Ooh, this maybe not so much, or I'd like to try this. But look at when you're dealing in the world of spirituality, people think, but you're spiritual. It should be really good. A lot of things fall into the category of spiritualism. And I think protecting your own energy has to be first and foremost. Because if you don't protect yourself and you go out and start doing some funky things, what you're going to do is potentially bring something home to everybody else in the house. And if you have children, they're the little natural psychics, okay? They're the ones, and the pets. They're going to see everything. And if really, people think, oh, that's really great. But if you have a child, for instance, that doesn't speak, and your pets don't speak, if you do, you should be freaking doing something impressive with that. They actually get things attached to them very easily because they cannot speak for themselves to tell you that there's something detrimentally wrong. So yes, black obsidian does ground you. Absolutely.
Did you see Tamara's comment? I have eaten salty crackers if I needed to ground and couldn't, and it helped. I have never heard that. I'm going to try a Big Mac tomorrow. Maybe some chicken fingers. I'm not making fun of you. I adore you, Tamara.
just like, what? That works?
I'm like, wait a minute.
Yourself a lot of money in stones.
Does it work with creme brulee if I put salt on top of it?
You could save yourself a lot of money in stones and grounding. So,
I love it. I wonder if it's the salt, not the cracker.
Yeah.
Salt helped you
salt
ground.
bath, things of that nature. I don't know.
But salty crackers usually are made with iodized salt. It's not sea salt. I'm the get the salt person in this group. If I hear or see something, it's like, get the damn salt, put it on the windowsill. It is the salt. Yeah, I think so. It's chemistry balance with your body. Mm-hmm. You're the best, Tamara.
At the end of the day, people research everything when you are delving, especially, there's a lot of people, we're coming up to spooky month, right? So everybody wants to go out and do ghost tours. Everybody wants to go out and see, go to the haunted houses, participate in investigations, or maybe you just want to go out and explore on your own. And again, that's okay. But if you don't know how to ground yourself or protect yourself, you could get yourself into a lot of problems. You have to understand too, when you're going to some of these places that do large events that specialize in, some of the old asylums, things like that, or some really, throughout the world, because I know we have people throughout the world who listen. You have attractions that are open for investigations. And in doing so, think about it. Who's doing what to either provoke or they're making invitations left, right, and center. Every time you hand out a voice recorder, every time you grab a pendulum, a ghost box, it doesn't matter. Ouija boards, spirit boards, you are initiating an invitation. You're initiating contact. Then you just leave and the next people come around and the same thing happens. It's a cycle that keeps going. Well, what do you think? You're taking a chance on something coming back with you. They can simultaneously attach to different people. I know this because throughout the years, I have worked with a lot of people who have gone and done this thing. And remember something too, during the month of October, people are amped right up. They're looking, their intention is to have an experience. That's what they're putting out there. So you have all kinds of things coming in because there are a lot of things that want to give you that experience. Yeah. But you have a collective consciousness of many people with many thought forms saying, I want to initiate, I want contact, I want that experience. Careful what you wish for, because you might be the guy in the crowd saying, no, I don't really want that at all. But you're with, 5 of your favorite friends, like, yeah, we're doing this, and they're dragging you through a cemetery, or they're dragging you to an event. And next thing you know, bam, you have a problem.
And it's not just people who are visiting. We've had seasoned investigators that we've had to clear. Okay. I laughed and I apologized. I'm squirrely, and I saw Judy's comment, Caramel salted caramel bars are a godsend. And I just burst out laughing. Thank you for that.
Kaha
During
moment,
a very
yeah.
serious statement that Michelle
Right.
was making.
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
so
Yeah,
sorry.
That's good.
Oh,
So Tamara says,
you need to ground and protect yourself first, because if you don't, you could end up channeling, and it's
absolutely.
scary. Yes, I
Absolutely.
automatic wrote once and didn't realize what I was doing. See, when you're, but that's in the
Yeah.
beginning when you're testing things out, right? There's
Right.
too many things
Yeah.
that you could really do if you, again, intention. So you have to be really careful. But
You
I'm
can
with
end up
Michelle. I
in a
think we
bad
need to
space.
revisit
Yeah.
that before October.
Educate. Well, I'm sure we'll have, the opportunity.
Yeah, because come October, it'll be too late, and then we're going to have a bigger client list in November.
Well, we'll just see what we have. Maybe we will have a date before October to do another Q&A, because I will see to it. I'm pretty sure we've got one. Sure we have a date in October that we're good to go. We might have to look at it and say, it might be better to hit people a couple weeks in advance. I'll have to look. But we are pretty much at the top of the hour, guys. So
Aww.
I know, boo, but here we are.
Aww.
So thank you to Nick Redfern for letting
Mom.
Amelia and I have some shenanigans tonight. So thank you.
Yeah.
Big thank you to Folgers Coffee for just simply being Folgers and being completely amazing. So thank you. Another huge thank you to Dr. Snick, Justin Snicker, the Sonic Surgeon. Thank you. If you guys want to reach out to us, the only way to do it, because people will go to the Facebook page and say, oh, here, I want to be on your show. Don't do that, because we don't even really look at them, because we are trying to get you to one place. The Outer Realm Contact at gmail.com, the Outer Realm Contact at gmail.com. Those are the people who get first consideration. So please go there. It's really, really tough for us otherwise. I'm going to be a harpy.
We don't even check the messages, Michelle.
We know. Exactly.
So,
Folgers commercials. Send them in. Harpy over here. But I've been playing them tonight. It's so simple to do. Do it with your camera phone. Email it. Let's do that thing. Next week, we have a really, really great show. Wednesday night, we welcome our friend and fellow network show host of The Missing Piece, Trish Moe. So basically, her show is on Monday evenings, 9 to 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 to 10 Central. She's going to be discussing her life as an ET experiencer, MELAB abductee, and so much more. Because she is just like completely awesome. You guys are going to love her. We're happy to share her with you guys. Thursday night welcomes for the first time, courtesy of Carl Cookson, definitely one of his colleagues, Kevin Dermot O'Doherty. I say that 3 times. I could have a bit of a struggle there. But he's going to be discussing his book called Egyptian Hamadi Secrets. Ooh. This is a book loaded. I'm going to love this. Wow. Knowledge of Gnosticism, demonology, ETs, human genesis, and so much more. Right? Fantastic. Yay. But until then, tomorrow night, check out, of course, Church of Mavis, which goes on from I believe 8 till 10 p.m. I could be mistaken on that, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. The Centralist. So get yourselves, you have an angst up week and you just want to just get in there and let's let those emotions flow.
Is Michelle speaking for herself?
Get yourself an attachment. Get on to the Centralist. Really easy going, but really down to business. And, all the top news, get in there. Joe Montel will straighten you all out. But I think this Saturday also, if I'm not mistaken, I always like to say it, and I'm always afraid to say it at the same time. Gray Zone Uncensored with myself and Joe. Yes. We're going to have some fun. But stuff happens because we're both very, very busy. So it's really difficult.
What time is that show on Saturday if it is happening, Michelle?
It's the same, 5 to 7 p.m. Central, 6 to 8 Eastern. I just expect everybody who watches it to know. Anyhow.
Well, for everyone new here tonight.
I know. There you go, people.
It's
check
a great
it out.
show.
Now, the big thing here is wherever you are watching the show tonight, whether it be YouTube, whether it be Facebook, please follow, subscribe. If you like what you're getting, y'all better be, because we're having a shenanigans night. If you like what you are seeing, please just show the support. We appreciate it. The network appreciates it. And it just keeps us all going. So please, I'm asking nicely. And until then, have yourselves a phenomenal weekend, and we shall see you all next week. Thank you, people, and good night.